Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I hope everyone had a great, safe, and amazing Thanksgiving. Going into this episode, let's just get one thing out the way. And that is Ben and Ciara. Oh my goodness. You know I complain about them a lot, but you know what? I mean, it's episodes like this that it just makes it so painfully obvious. Every time they are on screen, it's just the same nauseating scenes with them. Okay? I felt like it was like, alright, what did they do? They sat there and they hugged and they kissed, they were in each other's faces. They reminisced about the first time that they met, and I was just like, I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning I was like, okay, maybe it's gonna be a little kind of interesting. Maybe I could sit there and watch this for a little bit. But no, they just have to find a way to just even ruin that. Because then it's like, they do a little bit of flashbacks, and they go right to present day, where they're just like all on top of each other, and it's just so nauseating. I don't get it. I understand that, it's a soap opera and then there's romance and stuff like that, but like even the greatest love stories like, Luke and Laura or Erica and whatever man she was dating, they weren't just constantly each other in each other's faces. I mean, I've watched soap operas for the majority of my life, honestly, even just growing up, I would sit there and see soap operas or whatever every now and then, my parents or whatever. And it was just never this constant in-your-face PDA 24/7. But with these two, it's so... I honestly tell you, I'm not gonna lie, after a while I had to fast forward through their scenes. I had to do it. I really, after the first few minutes of it, I was like, no, I can't do this. I was like, no, I cannot do this. And it was mostly, one, because they were just nauseating to look at after a while. And two, there was just much better stuff that was going on. Let's get to the much better stuff because, so Marlena's still trying to play up this ruse, like, oh, Marlena, I'm not possessed or whatever. And slowly, after a while, the ruse starts to drop. But before that happens, Steve leaves. No, not Steve. Steve isn't there. Kayla leaves. And Bella leaves. At this point, Sean was like, alright, I'm just going to put you in handcuffs, and that's going to be about it. And the minute that, she's in handcuffs, Marlena's like, there's going to be a big mistake, and you're going to be sorry. The way she said it in her tone, everyone looked at her like... Because, Julie and Doug are saying that she's the devil. And, Marlena's like, come on, you can't believe this, right? I mean, Kayla, Sean, you wanna like jump in and stop this whole whatever the hell this is that's going on? And Sean is like, you know what, that doesn't seem too out the possibilities. You've been acting a little kind of off. So I'm gonna listen to what they got to say, pretty much. And even when she tries to get Kayla to back her up, she's like, well, you're a doctor. And, Kayla's like, yeah, but I also do believe in, I have a strong faith, I am religious, that's not too far off from you being possessed. I'm just saying, But that's what she said. She was like, well, I am Catholic, so I'm not ruling that out. But Kayla leaves, Bella leaves, so now you just got, Sean and Doug and Julie. And, there was one point where Marlena's like, well, what are you going to sit there and say to them when you hold me down to the station? And, Sean was like, well, listen, if they're right, then you're going to jail. If they're wrong, then apologize, but we'll figure it out down there. And, Marlena's like, well, what if I don't want to go? And she snaps these handcuffs like they were toilet paper. you know? So at this point, Sean is like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna just back up over here, kind of, protect them. So they go back and forth for a little bit, and then Marlena, Marlena throws Sean straight through, not over the table, but like he slides his body across the table like it's slip and slide, and it's the most funniest scene because, I mean, I get it. It's a soap opera. They don't really do action. So when they don't do action and they decide, alright, we gotta sit there and shoot this scene, alright guys, let's do it. It just comes across looking so funny and so hilarious that I can't even sit there and be like, you know what, listen, this is a little kind of cheesy and kind of cringe, but I'm gonna go with it because it's just too hilarious. So, the devil just throws, Sean across the table or whatever, and he's all knocked out. So now, Julie stands up there and Julie's like, well, you're not gonna sit there and touch him. Okay, you're gonna have to sit there over my dead body pretty much. And Devil's like, oh, okay, cool, that could be arranged. But then, she brings out the rosemary thing, the necklace, and then she starts just spouting off about God and love is stronger than hate, and she just gets into her own spiel like she usually does. Next thing you know, the devil decides to leave. I'm sitting there thinking, why don't you just kill all three of them and just be done with them? I mean, I guess the rosemary was there, so like maybe that was kind of like, his kryptonite or whatever. And plus, before, because when John gets there, John is like, where does she go? And I think Sean's like, oh, he's left to, fulfill his purpose or whatever. Next thing you know, they get a knock at the door. Well, Ben and Ciara gets a knock at the door, and it's Marlena there. So I'm just sitting there thinking, alright, what is going to go on now? Now, I do remember, I think that's her name, Deidre Hall, sitting there saying it was going to go through the holidays. At first I thought it was going to go all the way up to, Christmas. But when I saw the previews, I guess it still may go up to Christmas, who knows. I mean, if you watch the previews, you know that Eric does come back. So, that's going to be interesting. I don't know how long it's going to last, though. Like, I don't know how long this whole possession thing is going to last. I know a lot of people, to be honest, there's people that just can't wait for it to be over. So, I'm enjoying it, but I understand that, they already kind of redid this. They kind of already did this before, so it's like, alright, I understand where you guys are coming from. So, Steve comes into the crypt, sees Susan covered with blood. Apparently she stabbed herself because she knew she didn't want to kill John, but she didn't want her son to get hurt or killed. So she decides to stab herself. Now Steve brings her into the house, and at first EJ was like, "Yo, what did you do to my mom? Like, are you kidding me?" They get to the hospital. Long story short, she's gonna make a full recovery. She didn't nick any arteries or anything like that. EJ even apologized, and Steve was like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Like, it's whatever." So EJ thanks him, and Steve sets out. I gotta sit there and say I really did like their scene. Their scenes together between Susan and EJ. EJ is always either really angry or kind of a dick. There's very rare times that he's vulnerable. So seeing that side of him was actually pretty nice, because a lot of people sit there and be like, he's the devil incarnate, pretty much. But I mean, granted, he's from what I understand, he's done some really terrible things. But I always kind of sit there and look at stuff like that. It's like, someone can't be all the way evil if they have a little bit of love in their heart. And And EJ shows that with Susan. Hell, even when Susan called him, Elvis Jr., I'm pretty sure that's not a name that, he would have probably chose for himself, which is why he always calls himself EJ. But, seeing his state, seeing her state, knowing what she did to save, him and John, it was like, all right, you know what? You can call me Elvis Jr. It's cool. It's not gonna leave outside this room, but it's cool in here. So it was nice seeing, even though we know that it's Kristen, and Kristen is not that much older than EJ, but it was still nice to sit there and see him be vulnerable and stuff like that. So I thought that was, among my favorite parts in this episode. I would have probably traded all those scenes of EJ and Susan and watched it for 3 hours as opposed to watching like 5 minutes. Okay, maybe I'm kind of exaggerating, but I would have chose the EJ and Susan scenes over the Ciara and Ben scenes any damn day of the week. Oh my goodness. They're just insufferable. That's the best way I could sit there and describe them. They are just literally insufferable. And it gets to a point where it's like, I remember when I used to sit there and watch GH back in the day. And I did not care about the Maxie and Georgie and Dylan stuff. Like, I would fast forward past all that. But I would probably trade all that in a heartbeat versus those two. Anyway, John gets to the mansion. 1 second. John gets to the mansion, kind of dehydrated and, kind of pretty banged up, And Anna tries to get him to go to the hospital. He's like, yo, listen, you gotta go to the hospital. Like, you're not in good shape. And hell, even when Steve saw Bella, Bella was like, where is he? Is he okay? Like, did you leave him? Yada, yada, yada. And when I think Anna calls Bella, Bella calls Anna. I forgot which one. Yeah, Bella calls Anna. And, let him know that Bella, that John is doing okay. He's kind of stubborn. And, trying to get him to go to the hospital is, whatever. And when John finds out that Sean tried to arrest him, John was like, yeah, that's so not a good idea. Tell him to stand down, but by that time it was already too late because, he was already on the floor. So, he didn't go to the hospital, by the way. And like I said, he wound up going to Julie's place, which of course he gets there, and for the most part, Doug and Julie and Sean are alive. So, yeah. I feel like that's about it. I'm not gonna lie, I really did actually enjoy this episode. I did. Even, like I said, even just the EJ and Susan scenes, I really enjoyed. I think, like, pretty much 90% of it was actually really good to watch. It was just the, it was just the Ciara and Ben stuff that was just kind of like, okay. Okay, alright, I'm fast forwarding it. And then, like, when Marlena got there, then that was, like, acceptable. Because I was like, alright, at least something interesting is happening besides them just being in each other's faces every 5 minutes. And I know, here's the thing, I know that I sound like a broken record, and for people who have been watching me, and every time I talk about Ben and Ciara, I pretty much complain. And honestly, here's the thing, I wish I didn't have to complain about that. Okay, I wish I did not have to sit there and be like, wow, they were actually pretty interesting. They did this and they did that. I mean, it was a little PDA, but, for the most part, it was actually really good. I wish I could sit there and be like that. Okay, I wish I could sit there and say that stuff. But, unfortunately, I'm kind of given, it's kind of the material I'm given by the writers of the show that constantly will sit there and show them just being them. And I honestly tell you the truth, I can't even. I wouldn't even want to sit there and hide my discontent for those two. I just. I can't. I can't. I'm pretty sure he talked about other stuff. But to be honest, I really didn't care. And I fast forward through like the majority of their scenes. Because. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. And I will see you in the next video.